Welcome to this daily guided meditation practice. This is the Attentive Mind. My name is Nathan, and I'll be guiding you through this meditation practice today. It may seem here that we are beginning something, initiating some sort of thing called meditation. But practice or meditation really isn't something that begins or ends, because it's not a thing to do, really. Not a search, not an achievement. You are here. How does that begin or end? It's just a fact. And practice is a natural return to that fact, even though we've never left it. So, with a comfortable and sturdy position, one that is seated, of course, with your eyes opened or closed, we just are here. Not searching, not achieving, simply remaining with what already is. There's nowhere to go. There's no one to become. There's nothing to do. Here you are. So let go of any kind of contrivance, any kind of practice, any kind of doing, and allow everything to be as it already is. And don't even do that. You may notice that the mind doesn't really know how to do this, for lack of a better word. The mind is always seeking. And when we say to just not do anything, it's confused. And you may notice this by a feeling of anticipation or boredom or what's next. But that right there is why we suffer. Because that little voice that needs to get somewhere, that needs to achieve, it's never satisfied. So if we want true rest, actual rest, the voice can't be taken to be real. Thinking simply needs to be let go of. So when you notice that thought about your problems, about what's next, about meditation, about how it doesn't work for you, whatever, see it as mere thinking, just noise, words, and return right here where you always are. We return right here, letting thoughts come and go, and completely rest. On my first solo retreat, it was a week-long retreat I did alone. And a lot of things happened on that retreat. I think it was about day 3 or so. Yeah, it was the 3rd day, which I actually had to leave early, so it was only 3 days. I planned for a week and left early. But on that 3rd day, I was sitting, practicing, and all of a sudden, I started laughing because it became so silly that I was sitting down in this weird position, staring at the floor for so many hours. It just it's like all of a sudden, I realized that all of this seeking, all of this trying effort mind wasn't necessary. It was just this. And it was and it's so clear. Started laughing. I was like, "What the hell am I doing?" And that's what's funny about practice. That's what's funny about it. There's this very classic contradiction or dualism in it. Because on the one hand, you hear people, or you're told, or what I've learned is to practice, try for 10,000 years nonstop. As Sun Sung Sunim used to say. But then on the other hand, that effort is itself unnecessary and in fact is a hindrance. There's a Zen story of a monk who was practicing meditation in the garden in Japan. I think it was Japan. And his teacher came up to him while he was practicing and he was like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And the monk says, "Well, I'm practicing zazen, which is meditation, in order to become a Buddha, to become enlightened." So the teacher bends over and picks up a rock or a stone, like a thin rock. And he takes his cloak and just starts rubbing it. And the teacher's like, and the monk's like, "Well, okay, what are you doing?" And the teacher's like, "Oh, I'm rubbing this stone to make a mirror." And the monk says, "By no amount of rubbing are you going to turn that into a mirror." And the teacher replies, "By no amount of zazen will you become a Buddha." Now, that isn't talked about too much in the Zen circles because a lot of it is effort mind. It's what they call strong effort. But there's a quote, I think, by, oh, I forget his name, William Blake, a poet. He says, "A fool who persists in his folly becomes wise." And a lot of what practice is persisting in the folly. A teacher is like, "Well, you think that you have a problem? Well, go do this thing. Try." And through that effort, you realize that no effort was needed. But before you go, "Great, I don't have to try." Because we still believe this illusion. We still are attached to thinking because of that. That thinker needs a practice. That thinking thing that isn't really real, it's only a figment of thought. That needs something to see through itself. It's not like a soul or anything. It's like if you believe that the unicorn in your head is real. Or a better example is if you're driving on the road and you see a mirage, but it looks like water. And your whole life, as you drove down this road, you're going home or whatever, you always look to your left and you see this pool of water. And you've always thought, well, I can always just go get water. That's a pool of water over there. That's a lake. And you got a friend who's a little bit clever and says, no, that's an illusion. It's like, no, it's not. Look, I can see it. It's literally reflecting the birds. I can literally see the water. And he's like, oh, then go get some water. And that's what practice is. Practice is saying, go get the water. What are you? This thing that's always unsatisfied, reaching, gaining. That little thing needs a practice. It needs something to say, oh, I can start practicing. But real practice, of course, is letting it all go. So don't get it wrong. If you're suffering, you're thinking. If you're hurting, you're thinking. If you're unsatisfied, you're thinking, or rather, you're identified with thoughts. And so that one that is hurting, that is suffering, needs a practice. And when we practice, we let it all go. We put it all down. And we enter to what we already are. We don't even enter. There's no entrance. There's just this. We just, these words are not enough. They're a little bit deceptive, but we just come back to what is already the case, what is already here, which is already free from thinking. So remember, effort is good to show up every day, to show up in practice, to do a retreat, to really genuinely, with courage, look, what am I? What sits here? What is this? But through that, we become wise, because that in itself is an illusion. So when you sit down, drop the effort, drop the seeking, and just see what happens. No gaining, not learning, not trying, not becoming, just seeing what is already the case without naming it. So practice. Whatever you do, just practice. Thank you for your time. And as always, and without exception, I'll see you tomorrow.